She stuck the needle into her arm and watched her own blood flow out. While waiting for the blood to fill the container, she read a book to kill time. Then she splattered the fresh blood onto the cabinet and poured the rest onto the floor. Putting on gloves, she smeared it evenly. The uneven bloodstains were the perfect proof of a homicide. After doing all this, she intentionally displayed clumsiness. The gaps in the floorboards and the exposed weapon all became clues for the police. To make the chain of evidence complete, the woman wrote a 300-page diary. It went from the sweetness of romance to the domestic abuse situations. Abuse, fear, and violence. Every single word was full of power. It further illustrated the woman's helplessness. The diary was put into the furnace and burned to just the right degree. This ensured it could be found by the police, and the handwriting remained legible. Finally, she overturned the stool and smashed the coffee table fiercely. The man was drinking heavily at a bar when he suddenly received a call from a neighbor. When he rushed back home, he found the house completely empty. The living room was in a total mess, and the coffee table was smashed to pieces. The mysterious disappearance of his wife gave him a terrible premonition. Before the man could figure out the situation, the police had already arrived at the door. They looked around and quickly discovered the bloodstains on the cabinet. The male officer glanced at him with eyes full of suspicion. After all, in a case involving the murder of a wife, the husband is highly likely to be the true culprit. The police took the man back to the station to collect fingerprints and DNA. According to the man's account, they had been married for 5 years. His wife was a well-known writer and also a doctor of psychology. After marriage, his wife stopped working and settled down as a housewife. To take care of his sick mother, he brought his wife back to his hometown. His wife's life became monotonous and she barely had any friends. The police questioned him for a few words, but failed to get any useful clues. To protect the crime scene, the police sealed off the man's house. He could only go to stay with his older sister and vent his grievances to her. When the police went to the man's house to investigate again, they were actually stopped by a strange woman. The other party had a big pregnant belly and claimed to be Amy's best friend. Learning that Amy had suddenly gone missing, she anxiously inquired about the situation. The detective listened with a blank face, not expecting Amy to have such a close friend. Using the excuse of being too busy with work, she temporarily kept the woman outside. The police discovered that all the assets of this family were actually under Amy's name. Even the bar owned by the man's sister had its property rights belonging to Amy. The detective did not take it to heart at first and just continued to investigate in the room. She found a clue left by Amy in the bedroom drawer. The police took the man back to the station and asked about the clue. The man said his wife liked treasure hunt games to enhance the relationship between the two. On every wedding anniversary, Amy would leave clues. Following the clues down would bring unexpected surprises. Based on the riddle in the clue, the man quickly thought of the destination. He took the detective to the office and successfully found the second clue. Just as he read out the riddle, the detective had an unexpected discovery. She pulled out a piece of women's underwear from the document bag on the wall. While teasing the man for being a womanizer, she put the underwear into the bag. The answer to the second clue pointed to a brown cabin, but when the detective asked about it, the man chose to conceal it. At night, taking advantage of the police not following him, the man snuck into a house. Then he easily got the third clue on the table. But just as he turned around, he found the detective had followed him over. He hurriedly hid the clue behind his back and said this was his father's house. Although still suspicious, the blue exterior paint of the house instantly dispelled her doubts. Only Nick knew this house used to be brown. He realized that Amy purposely utilized the color change of the house to avoid the police's eyes. Amy's parents arrived and held a press conference. They wanted to mobilize the power of the media to find their missing daughter. After the man briefly introduced the overview, he stood to the side indifferently. It seemed his wife's disappearance had no impact on him whatsoever. He even smiled inexplicably while the media were taking photos. After the press conference ended, the man actually felt relieved. He greeted the guests warmly and did not look anxious at all. The absurd performance further deepened the police's suspicion. They asked Nick about Amy's best friend, but he looked completely blank. It seemed that in his own memory, he had absolutely no recollection of such a person. When a reporter saw him, they immediately requested to take a photo together. Instead of refusing, he actually smiled once again. The man's strange behavior was soon reported by the television station. Under the instigation of public opinion, he became a notoriously scum man. At the rescue meeting, the man spoke a few polite words as usual. The neighbors could not stand it and silently cursed him one after another. Before he could finish a few words, a woman interrupted him. The other party was holding a child in her arms, and she was actually Amy's best friend.
What did you do to your pregnant wife?
As soon as these words came out, the scene instantly went into an uproar. The man instantly fell into a panic and could no longer care about any image. Amidst the questioning from the crowd and reporters, he fled into the police car. The detective chased after him and asked if he knew the news of his wife's pregnancy, but he said that woman was a lunatic and he did not know her at all. Who knew? The detective threw out a few photos, which were group photos of his wife and that woman. Judging from the photos, the two were obviously close. Before he could make an explanation, the detective walked into the restaurant again. With a gentle jump, she shook the photo frame down. Such sloppy placement indicated that a struggle had once occurred here. The detective took out the fluorescence report again, proving there was a large amount of blood on the ground. The man panicked a bit and was still making desperate excuses, but the detective took out the bills, solidifying his motive for murder. The bills were all large extravagances, completely exceeding his spending power. What was even more fatal was Amy's high-priced insurance, and he was the sole beneficiary. Recently, the coverage amount had also been suddenly increased. The man hurriedly said his wife took advantage of his distraction and coaxed him into signing. Before he could explain clearly, the detective received another call from the hospital. After the police left, the man took out the third clue. It wrote about punishing wood and the beach. He muttered it repeatedly a few times and finally thought of the answer. Opening the door of the warehouse, the man instantly froze on the spot. The luxury goods on the bills were actually all hidden here. Once these were discovered by the police, no one would ever believe him again. He hurriedly called his sister over and explained everything clearly. Only then did the two realize that the man was no match for his wife at all. The police returned to the cabin and continued to look for relevant clues. They opened the fireplace and found that burned diary. The content inside, without exception, revealed Amy's despair. Amy met the man at a party. He was witty and humorous, making her heart flutter. He stroked his lips with his finger, instantly capturing Amy's heart. But after marriage, he showed his true colors and indulged in games all day long. He spent money lavishly and even lost patience with his wife. Amy accidentally witnessed his infidelity with her own eyes. His methods of coaxing girls were actually the same tricks used when pursuing her. The enviable, perfect marriage had now reached the brink of collapse. To win back her husband's heart, Amy proposed wanting a child, but the man was impatient and anxiously ran outside. During the argument, the man suddenly pushed her down, bumping her hard against the stairs. Amy fell to the floor, her eyes filled only with terror. She did not know what her husband would do next. To retaliate against the man, Amy formulated a meticulous plan. She took advantage of the man watching a ball game to trick him into signing the insurance policy. Finally, she maxed out the credit cards and went on a wild shopping spree in the man's name. She approached the female neighbor and worked hard to win her goodwill. Between the lines of their chats, she revealed her husband's abuse toward her. She broke the toilet and persuaded the neighbor to drink a lot of water. After the other party finished using the toilet, she stole the neighbor's urine. Sending this to the hospital for examination would inevitably create the illusion of pregnancy. She fabricated over 300 diary entries, shaping her husband into a scumbag. After leaving enough evidence for the police, she found thugs to buy a car. Amy drove away elegantly, showing a triumphant smile. She cut her hair short and carefully collected it in a bag. Then, she mixed the hair dye to change the color of her hair and eyebrows. After doing these, she seriously cleaned the toilet. Then she took out a hammer and aimed at her own eye. With a brand new identity, Amy rented a house in a remote town. She claimed she was escaping domestic violence to win the sympathy of her new neighbors. The two got along quite well and seemed to have become friends. On this day, they played ball together, and Amy accidentally dropped the cash on her body. She hurriedly bent down to pick it up, but it was still seen by the neighbor. Early the next morning, the neighbors broke into Amy's room. The other party saw that her hair was newly dyed, and even her glasses were fake. Obviously, this woman was hiding from something. They figured Amy did not dare to call the police and forcibly took away all the cash. Amy had nowhere to go and could only dial the phone number of her ex-boyfriend. She said her husband wanted to kill her, forcing her to choose to disappear. Amy begged bitterly, imploring the other party not to call the police. Who knew the ex-boyfriend actually did not have the slightest suspicion of her? He brought Amy back to the villa and told her there was all-around surveillance here. Moreover, the villa was by a remote lake, so absolutely no one else would disturb them. Amy hid in the villa and no longer had to worry about making a living. However, the ex-boyfriend's desire for control far exceeded her imagination. The ex-boyfriend came to see her every day and forced her to wear clothes he selected. She felt disgusted and did not want to live with this person. If things continued like this, she could only be manipulated by others. So she kept flipping through the surveillance, trying to find a way to break the deadlock. She followed her husband's news every day, hoping to wait for some change. Because of various evidences, the man had almost been solidified for murder. He knew that only by finding his wife back could he clear his innocence. So he simply participated directly in the television station's interview. In front of the nationwide audience, he generously admitted to cheating, and he expressed extreme regret over his wife's disappearance. The deeply affectionate appearance was all seen by Amy. He sincerely begged Amy to come home facing the camera. Amy's eyes were full of joy, as if seeing how love should look. She firmed up her confidence to go home, and next was to put it into action. The most important thing was to find a reasonable excuse for the disappearance. So she changed into the clothes given by her ex-boyfriend and began to falsely cater to him. She took advantage of the ex-boyfriend going out to intentionally bite his lip bloody. She also messed up his clothes and hairstyle to expose him to the surveillance. After confirming the boyfriend drove away, she stained her skirt with red wine. She dashed toward the surveillance suddenly, creating the illusion of being violated. Amy used a rope to strangle her wrist, as if experiencing long-term binding. Then, she used a wine bottle to hurt herself, disguised as suffering from abuse. The boyfriend rushed back to the villa and found Amy waiting ambiguously. The payoff finally came to fruition, making him already impatient. Just when he was enjoying it, Amy reached her hand toward the pillow. She took out a knife and instantly slit his throat. Amy drove home, immediately causing quite a stir. She was covered in blood and stumbled toward her husband. In front of the media and neighbors, she put on a show of a loving couple. Facing the police, Amy firmly maintained she was kidnapped. For over a month, she was crazily abused by her ex-boyfriend. Finally, she falsely catered to him to manage to kill the other party and escape smoothly. Those processed surveillance footages were enough to confirm everything she said. Although the detective still had some doubts, under pressure from superiors and media, she could not say much more. Through media rendering, the two became a loving couple. Amy even fought the demon with wit and was shaped as a role model for women. Surrounded by the crowd, the couple returned home. Before entering the house, they were still waving and putting on a show for everyone. However, Amy could deceive the media, but ultimately could not deceive her husband. He knew his wife was a murderer and spent the whole day in fear. Finally, he could tolerate it no longer and planned to expose everything to the media. But Amy was completely unfazed, working hard to build the persona of a loving couple. No matter what the man said again, absolutely no one would believe it. Now the two became celebrities, and the bar also opened chains. All the benefits had to thank Amy's efforts. To prevent her husband from speaking recklessly, Amy took out her trump card again. It turned out she took out her husband's frozen sperm. The man was extremely furious and pinned her against the wall with one hand. But now the media was waiting downstairs, and he could not give up his child either. He could only be forced to hold his wife's hand and continue to play the model couple. He touched his wife's head, not knowing what she was thinking. Amy looked up at him and showed a satisfied smile.